In this section, we will provide examples of successful campaigns that have used marketing strategies to promote their Supreme Court nominees and how they have achieved tax-exempt status as a result. One example is the campaign of former President Donald Trump, who nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court, and Trump used various marketing techniques to persuade the public and the Senate to confirm his nominee, such as highlighting her conservative credentials and judicial philosophy, which aligned with his political base and agenda, emphasizing her personal story and achievements, such as being a mother of 7 children, a law professor, and a federal judge, framing her nomination as a historic opportunity to fill the seat of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a liberal icon who had passed away shortly before, mobilizing his supporters and allies to rally behind his nominee and pressure the Senate to act quickly, despite the proximity of the presidential election. Trump's campaign was supported by various tax-exempt organizations that also advocated for Barrett's confirmation, such as Section 501(c)(3) charitable organizations, which are allowed to engage in limited lobbying to influence Senate confirmation of judicial appointments, as long as it is not a substantial part of their activities. Section 501(c)(4) social welfare organizations, which are allowed to engage in unlimited lobbying in furtherance of their exempt purposes, but must notify their members of the non-deductible amount of dues spent on lobbying or pay a proxy tax on their lobbying expenditures. Section 527 political organizations, which are allowed to engage in unlimited lobbying to influence Senate confirmation of judicial appointments, as part of their exempt function activity. Another example is the campaign of President Joe Biden, who nominated Judge Roberta Kaplan to the Supreme Court, and Biden used different marketing strategies to promote his nominee, such as showcasing her expertise and experience in civil rights litigation, especially on LGBTQ+ issues, which resonated with his progressive supporters and agenda, praising her courage and integrity, as she had represented clients who sued former President Trump for defamation and tax fraud, presenting her nomination as a milestone for diversity and inclusion, as she would be the first openly gay Supreme Court justice, engaging his supporters and allies to endorse his nominee and urge the Senate to confirm her without delay, despite the opposition from some conservative groups. Biden's campaign was backed by various tax-exempt organizations that also lobby for Kaplan's confirmation, such as Section 501(c)(3) charitable organizations, which followed the same rules and limitations as mentioned above for Barrett's confirmation. Section 501(c)(4) social welfare organizations, which also followed the same rules and requirements as mentioned above for Barrett's confirmation. Section 501(c)(5) labor unions, and Section 501(c)(6) business leagues, which are allowed to engage in unlimited lobbying in furtherance of their exempt purposes, but are subject to the same notification or proxy tax rules as Section 501(c)(4) organizations. These examples show how marketing strategies can be used to influence the Supreme Court nomination process, and how tax-exempt organizations can participate in this process without jeopardizing their status. However, these organizations must also be careful not to engage in any campaign intervention or partisan activity that would violate the federal tax law or the First Amendment.